Hey, we are rolling. Cheers, VC. Have my son up. And we're not going to mention any Elvis albums today, but Elvis should be included in this segment. But it's so obvious that we will do Elvis at a later greatest hits record video. So, cheers. And if you did Elvis, probably would take up 5 greatest hits albums, 4 greatest hits albums, like the box sets are 4 albums and goes on and on. So we're not doing Elvis, but Elvis is right here. My butt, cheers. And today we're drinking a drink I like in the summer, lemonade from Costco and Jack Daniels, 80 proof. You know what Sinatra used to drink, and we're not doing Sinatra greatest hits either because Volume 1 and Volume 2 are essential. So I just pulled some. There may be 10, there may be more. I didn't realize how difficult it was to pick 10 truly greatest hits albums. There's some I'm thinking of right now that I didn't pull that should be included, but they will be in future episodes because, like I said, it is extreme for me as a collector. And I'm not a greatest hits guy. I rather listen to to those hits in the record from which it originated. I like the deep cuts. I like the flow. But greatest hits are very popular. And if you're going to start a collection with some of these, if you like the artist and you don't like the deep cuts, a lot of stuff on some albums were maybe considered filler. These are great to start a collection. And these are also greatest hits that are truly greatest hits. There's some greatest hits album, as you know, in the early 70s and 60s. There were 4 singles, like Herman's Hermits, for example. Herman's Hermits greatest hits. Dave Clark 5 greatest hits. Is there a really greatest hits? Not maybe 4 or 5 are hits. The rest are B-sides or fillers. But this is essential. We're going to start off with the Beatles, Red, which is the greatest hits. This is how I learned about the Beatles early on. I was a young guy, didn't know a lot about music until these came out, so kind of dating myself. This is a Japanese pressing. I think I have a couple of these, but let's see if there's anything interesting. I don't think it has an obi. I'm just going to show this because it's Japanese. Of course, I have the domestic. Comes with a really nice discography from 62 to 66. The Japanese records, of course, there's just a little sample. A discography. And this is a really nice booklet. I don't remember playing these. This was actually, and here's the Apple Red and the original inner that you would see in the domestic. And here we have a domestic blue. These came out concurrently, 67 to 70. And when you go through these songs, it's just amazing of what the Beatles did in 7 years or so. 7, 8 years, 62 to 70. I'm not going to go over every song, but on here, for instance, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, With a Little Help from My Friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, A Day in the Life, All You Need Is Love, Here Comes the Sun, Come Together, Something, Octopus's Garden, Let It Be, Journey, Across the Universe, The Long and Winding Road. So these are true greatest hits. There's no, it's all meat. There's no filler. Here's another one from the era that we just went from. Rolling Stones, Hot Rock, 64 to 71. If you're going to do a Rolling Stones greatest hits, they have multiple greatest hits, of course. But here, Brown Sugar, Wild Horses, Give Me Shelter, Sympathy for the Devil as Tears Go By, Painted Black, Jumping Jack Flash. Tremendous greatest hits record. Here's the, and these can be considered desert island discs as well. If you're going to do a desert island disc video, these are essential greatest hits. Here's another one that's fun. Steve Miller Band, not the blues Steve Miller Band, but the pop mega hit Steve Miller Band. And this, ironically, is from 74 to 78, only 4 years. Swingtown, Jet Airliner, Rockin' Me, Fly Like an Eagle, The Joker, Jungle Love. The Joker is the only one that's from super mega hits. The Joker was probably one of his first mega hits that crossed all boundaries. There's the Inner. This is on Capitol, EMI. This is an OG pressing. Just an essential greatest hits. Here's another greatest hits from the same era. I love this album. One of my first albums I've ever bought, as they say, with my own money. Jackson 5. I Want You Back. Never Say Goodbye. I'll Be There. Going Back to Indiana. Mama's Pearl. The Love You Save. And this actually is still intact, but this is a perforated photo, and this pops out. And you could frame it. That was the intent. And here's the original Inner from my Inner. Great album. I Want You Back. Michael Jackson. Jackson 5. Here's another Beatles solo. One of my favorite greatest hits, Shaved Fish. And greatest hits aren't always called greatest hits. Obviously, this is a greatest hit, Shaved Fish. And I think on Give Peace a Chance, it's a mix that I really love. It's a different mix. And here we have the liner. And this is a purple Capitol. This is not an apple. I believe I have an apple somewhere. But the purple Capitols are very, very, very desirable. Here we have a new one, which I believe I bought at Target. These are available all over. This is a half-speed master from Abbey Road. Police greatest hits. And this has Roxanne. And there's only four tracks on the side, so they split it up. And they, fidelity-wise, sonically-wise, it's very well done. Walking on the Moon, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, Synchronicity, Invisible Sun, Every Breath You Take, King of Pain, Roxanne, Can't Stand Losing You, Message in a Bottle. This is an essential. And there's the Inner. The Inner gatefold. And this is what I do with my shrink wrap, which I have a video on. I peel the shrink wrap off, I pull it down, and what I do is I keep it intact and I put it on a hard inner or my own inner sleeve. And this had an Obi strip. These are German presses. Police greatest hits. Highly recommended. Here's the sticker. And this is probably, out of this batch, the newest one. I recommend these. Here's one of my favorites, and this sounds good. This is almost on a Dynaflex type of vinyl. You see it's a budget vinyl from RCA. But this sounds tremendous, especially Walk on the Wild Side. Some of Lou Reed's stuff's hard to take if you're a hardcore Lou Reed fan. I'm actually reading a biography on Lou Reed. I didn't realize the early turmoil he was in as a young man. He was born to kind of wealthy, well-off parents who didn't dig his lifestyle, who didn't dig his vibe, what he was into growing up, and so he had a lot of issues with his folks. But this is a greatest hit. Sweet Jane, White Light, White Heat, Coney Island Baby, Side Can't Dance, Walk on the Wild Side, Satellite of Love. So this is highly recommended. Here's the original Inner, and here's the label. Here's one greatest hits that's a double, and it's truly an incredible greatest hits. And this is very desirable. These are hard to find in good condition, and they command big money on vinyl. Billy Joel's Greatest Hits Volume 1 and Volume 2. So they've actually connected it. And here's the gatefold. I don't know if you could see that. And just to give you an example, Piano Man, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, New York State of Mind, The Stranger, Just the Way You Are, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Pressure, Allentown, Goodnight Saigon, Uptown Girl, The Longest Time, The Night Is Still Young, and You're Only Human, Second Wind, which may be added to this as new greatest hits, but I'm not sure. But everything else is an essential Billy Joel, and that's a great cover, great young Billy Joel there. Here's another essential greatest hits that's fabulous, and this is the one produced by George Martin, America's Greatest Hits. With No Name, Tin Man, Lonely People, Woman Tonight, Ventura Highway, Don't Cross the River, I Need You, Tin Man, Lonely People, and this is a tremendous record. Sounds good. Sounds really, really good. And there's some, I always put notes in my records when I clean them. I used to have a form that I'll show you one day, but this says, you can see that, I'm lefty. America Hits, plays near mint, cleaned 2/12/20. So a long time ago. But that's the inner. And the one produced by George Martin is the one I recommend. It really sounds really, really good. When the America were produced by George Martin, I think he laid it back and somehow redid their greatest hits or redid some of their tunes. And that's the white cover. Here's another essential greatest hits, not called greatest hits, called Endless Summer. Beach Boys would put Beatles and Stones. We have to put the America's answer to the Beatles, which was the Beach Boys, in my opinion. These are just my opinions of greatest hits. One has their own. I don't have a lot of the new stuff. I don't have a Taylor Swift greatest hits. I'm sure there's one, or there will be. I don't have a Dolly Parton greatest hits. I think I had one. I got rid of it. But like I said, it was very, very difficult to pick 10 or 8 or 20 greatest hits. I could have 50 here at this point. This is fantastic. Just to give you an example, you don't have this record, pick it up. They're cheap. They're on eBay, probably $10. Surfer Safari, Surfing Safari, Surf Girl, Catch a Wave, So Be True to Your School, Little Deuce Coupe, In My Room, Shut Down, Fun, I Get Around, Let Him Room, Don't Worry Baby, California Girls, All Summer Long. Just, about every hit. There's some that aren't on here, but there's a second compilation that came after this. This is from the 70s. Some really nice artwork. And these sound pretty good. I think there might be a poster that came with these. I'm not going to pull it out now. I think I'm going to do a video of albums with posters. If you like that idea, let me know. And before I forget, I was really rushing into this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and commenting. I've made a lot of nice long-distance vinyl community friends that are into the same things I am, and I'm learning from them. So cheers. Thanks for subscribing. And please, if you haven't, please do so. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if I do any crazy videos, it'll tell you. It'll come up. And if you feel like you can't sleep, watch one of my videos. It may just put you right out. So it's really helpful. So hopefully you'll subscribe. I thank everyone out there. Here's another essential. The Doors' Greatest Hits. This is only one volume. Could be 3 volumes. There's also something called The Doors 13. Weird Scenes from the gold mine, which is actually some obscure, not obscure greatest hits, but deeper cuts. These are probably singles. Hello, I Love You, Light My Fire, People Are Strange, Love Me Two Times, Riders on the Storm, Break On Through, Roadhouse Blues, Not to Touch the Earth, Touch Me, LA Woman. So this is a true greatest hits. And really nice inner here. You can see that. Great picture of the guy, Morrison, and there's a discography. And here's another band that came out of the LA scene and right away were super mega stars, but in a short period of time have an enormous left us an enormous songbook and legacy of tunes. Here's another one of my favorites from my high school years. Earth, Wind, and Fire's greatest hits, Gatefold. This is a really great, strong album. Got to Get You Into My Life, Sing a Song, Shining Star, which was one of my favorite, the harmonies, like 6-part harmonies. Can't Hide Love, That's the Way of the World, Reason, September, and Love Music. And here's a great inner of the gatefold. Most of these are gatefold, as you know. And here's the original inner. It's on Columbia. So there's also a volume 2, but That's the Way of the World. Here we have the one is I believe probably the top selling album of all time, next to maybe Rumors and Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Cheers. And that is this, an original shrink OG with the hype. Eagles, greatest hits. Unbelievable. And I just want to give a shout out to my good friend Steve. He's in a Eagles tribute band called Winslow, An Evening with the Eagles, and they play locally in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And I think they're playing at the Nugget in Atlantic City coming up, or they did that. But if you're in the tri-state area and you see Winslow, the guys are fantastic. One concert, they did the entire Hotel California. So and I've seen them, 5 times. They're just they get better. And Steve is a bass player. He plays left-handed bass. Has the same exact birthday as I do, which is cool. So that's it right there. This is the embossed cover, and you can see what's on there. I'll read it. Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, Lying Eyes, Already Gone, Desperado, Best of My Love. Now, the Eagles albums, I've been buying the one steps, which are fantastic. These sound great. These sound fantastic. This is the Electra, or Asylum Electra, Wea. But these sound fantastic. The one step sound fantastic, but until they get later on, some of the songs to me aren't that desirable. And with the one step, you get 2 songs aside, you have to get up, flip it over. But they really did a nice job. Lo-fi. Here's volume 2, the greatest hits. And right now you have to have volume 2, because on volume 2 is Hotel California, Heartache Tonight, Victim of Love, Life in the Fast Lane, New Kid in Town, The Long Run, and After the Thrill Is Gone. So essential. And here's the original inner with a discography on the other side as well. You get to see all their great albums. Well, those are solos, and here's the Eagles discography. Original shrink, which I have to put in plastic. And here's one I picked for my friend Don, who's a big Four Seasons fan. Don watches all the time, I think, him and his wife Nancy. And this is the Vault Golden Hits. Now, the Four Seasons have a bunch of greatest hits. They have a double greatest hits. They have a triple greatest hits. And for me, since some of those are deep cuts, I don't consider them essential greatest hits, but these are essential. here you have Let's Hang On, Ragdoll, Bye Bye Baby, Dawn, Toy Soldier, Cry Myself to Sleep. And this is signed, again, when I showed my videos on signatures, this is signed by Mr. Longo, who played bass right there. It's him with the goatee. So this is a great album. This is an original on Philips. Sounds really good. And here's the discography there. So that's the end of this segment. So I hope you enjoyed it. But for me, these greatest hits are true greatest hits. There's not a lot of, I would think out of maybe the couple of hundred songs here, there's maybe 3 or 4 songs that you may not be familiar with. If you're alive in America and you listen to the radio growing up or even now on Sirius, right, you've heard these songs. So thank you very much. And like I said, thanks for all the subs. If you can, please hit the subscribe button. I'm not even sure if it shows up, but you could subscribe. And we'll see you next time. I think I'm going to do another one of these. So tell me what your greatest hits are. And I call these the GOAT. GOAT, greatest of all time. And I believe these are greatest of all time. So keep rocking and stay safe. We'll talk to you soon. And thanks very much for all your support. Elvis, take care.